Sitting with
Michael Schenker, ex-Scorpions, ex-UFO, MSG, and Temple of Rock. If you're not in the now, you're in the nothing.
Perfect. Thank you, Michael. Thanks for taking the time to speak with us today. Appreciate it. So, first, let's start off with the current tour. How are things going with that?
Great. We had a rough start. We had to postpone the first 3 concerts because of visa problems for whatever reason. But you know, everything was approved, but all of a sudden we were waiting there for 14 days and nothing happened. Anyway, we got it together. The moment I got the visa, I went straight into the plane, into the limousine, out straight into the booth, the fantasy, rock and roll fantasy, put the guitar and started playing, just non-stop. We went like bang.
Jeez, so it's been a wild ride so far, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it was great. So
excellent. Far. So, Spirit on a Mission, why don't you tell us about that?
Spirit on a Mission is our second album with this lineup, with Hermann Werbel and Francis Buchholz, the original Scorpions rhythm section of Rock You Like the Hurricane, and Dougie White, ex-Rainbow, Wayne Findlay, MSG, and myself. And Hermann and I and Francis, we made one record together many years ago, which was Love Drive, and Bridge the Gap, which was our previous release, our first release together. With our second album basically that we ever played, so this is Spirit on a Mission. I already knew after Bridge the Gap that I was going to add more 7 strings to this recording, to combine the old with the new, my traditional playing with additional frequencies of the low string, the 7 strings. I've been watching Wayne Findlay developing on the 7 string. He is ready to be used for that, and so that was the right timing for that. And so I asked him to write a few riffs. I added my composition to it, then we gave it to Dougie, and so we basically have an additional songwriting team, which is very unique. And the idea is, at this point in time, the Michael Schenker's Temple of Rock is still based on Michael Schenker's record deal, etc., etc. And the idea is, as I'm seeing how everything develops, that this develops into a group with its own identity, with its own sound, with its own style. And another record, and I think we are there. We have already got quite a few memorable tunes, that have an impact, and so so we at some point we can just really balance out the set that we're going to perform between classics and new stuff, and so it will be always kept exciting. Not too much for the people who don't want to hear the classics and want to hear more new stuff, and not too much new stuff for the people who want to hear, lots of classics. And so that would be a great combination. And the album, the concept behind it was I wanted it really, half of the album really fast, double bass drum, snappy and melodic and high energy, hard and rocking like a train. It never stops going. And then on the and also the other side of it with the 7 strings to give it more the deeper sound, and and both combined together, it gives it a really unique type of a vibration, and so basically I would say mission accomplished.
Absolutely, sure. Spirit on a Mission, mission accomplished. Excellent. Yeah. That's a great album. I gave it a listen to. It sounds fantastic. In fact, one of my favorite songs off of it was Wicked.
Yeah.
I really dig that song.
Yeah.
I just love the you know, the way it kind of chugs along, and it's a great song. So you have a favorite song off the album?
You know, I like Live and Let Live. You know,
Yeah.
it's a great Live and Let Live. I love that those wording, and it's one of those snappy songs. You know, hard melodic energy, and it doesn't stop. It's just like a train, keeps going. That's really good.
Excellent. So I was recently listening to an interview with you, and you kind of said something interesting, that you kind of tend to focus obviously on the guitar parts in a song. So with your name attached to the songs, though, I mean to the band, do you give the final stamp of approval for all the songs, like after the lyrics and everything are laid down, or is your focus pretty much the guitar parts and you let the guys do their thing?
Basically, I have a concept, and I go into the studio. I put down the blueprint with my co-producer Michael Voss, and he understands very well what I'm trying to do, and so he is very good working together with. And once I have arranged the songs and everything, I give it to Dougie. He works on the vocals. And in the meantime, we get the drums out of the way, the bass and Wayne Findlay. And basically, then it's Dougie's turn to really focus on the vocals, and he comes up with millions of ideas, and we decide together which will be the most suitable for the song. So it's just feeling like a house, you know, brick by brick, and don't really know. The blueprint is there, but subject to, you know, improvements or change, etc.
Excellent. So now, of course, you mentioned Francis and Herman, obviously the Scorpions, you guys. Now, how did that all kind of come together? I mean, you know, were you guys always in contact?
Yeah, it's a long story. It's basically, it all started when Herman and I were invited to come to Greece to help out the Scorpions in a stadium. And so Herman and I, you know, we kind of talked, and actually he said, like, we should go together sometimes. And then we bumped into Pete Way in London, and so we kind of, you know, Herman was in Brighton, and I came down to Brighton, and I wanted to play Strangers in the Night material. I hadn't played for a long time. Pete Way was there, and Herman, and so we put together this. We wanted to put together a live project, you know. And at the same time, I went to the recording studio, the demo studio. I had material for a new album. I was ready for that, and basically, I did not know who was going to sing or play on it. I just wanted to do my usual thing, go in the studio, put down the blueprint, and I asked Michael Voss to help me out with the vocals. When he started singing, I said, you can actually sing, why don't you sing the album? And so he sang a few songs, and then I kind of was. And then I played it to Herman and to Pete Way, and when they heard it, they immediately wanted to do the rhythm section. So I had all of that ready, and then I was wondering what I was actually doing, what is developing here. It's a bit kind of magical, you know. It kind of happened all by itself, and then I was thinking maybe it feels like summit time, you know. Maybe I should invite some players from the past, and so it went bang, 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 you know, Carmen Eppes, Simon Phillips, Chris Glenn, my brother Rudolph, Paul Raymond, Chris Slade. I mean, so many great musicians ended up playing on this album. And then even William Shatner.
No way, really? Star Trek?
Yeah, Star Trek. Captain Kirk, even he was on it, and you know, doing the intro. So it was incredible, you know, how it all came together. And then when I was going to go on a touring, Michael Voss wasn't available, so I had to figure out how to do this. And because Robin McCauley sang on the album, so did Dougie White, Michael Voss was available for Japan. Robin was able to do America, and Dougie White was able to do the European part. And then Pete Way got sick as we started to do Europe. And so we needed an emergency plan B, and I asked Herman, I think Francis would be the best choice, because we played Scorpions stuff, etc., and Francis was more than happy. And so basically when Dougie and Francis joined on the European tour, that was the click, you know, that's when it went bang. And then, but I didn't know it then, that we were, you know, going to be staying together, etc. Right. And so I quickly arranged for a DVD, for a video shoot, and to at least have a memory.
Capture.
Yeah, but it got better, we got more offers, we were all having fun, the audience, us on stage, everything was great, and it just went on, and then I asked the guys, let's make an album together. And that became Bridge the Gap, and you know, we carried on touring, and then it came to the second album, which is now Spirit on a Mission.
So this is the band.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys have solidified. Temple of Rock is
Temple of
something
Rock.
you're gonna. Your name is still attached to it, but I mean, it's the focus
Yeah, I think
on
they're
Temple of Rock.
probably always going to use it because,
Yeah.
you know, it's a bit like, you know, when we play on the billboard, they always end up putting Michael Schenker there.
Right,
And they don't
right.
even put Temple of Rock there, which, you know, it would be great. But you know, I think they're always going to be putting my name with it because it's a double effect, you know.
Right, people can identify with that.
Yeah.
So you've actually had a few different iterations of the band name, your solo band name. Why is that? Why is it changed up all the time?
Yeah, because MSG was basically my middle years, which
Okay.
was personal development, doing things in my own pace, getting things out of my system musically in my own pace, not attached or not connected to any machine or anything like commercial touring, doing tour, album, you know. I left the Scorpions after Love Drive and to do my own thing, and so that was what it was in the first part of my life. You know, the first all the way up to Love Drive. It was basically I was unconsciously developing as a guitarist. In the middle years, I was basically you know, developing on a personal level and getting music stuff out of my way and stuff like that. And now I'm consciously enjoying all my developments of the past. And
Great.
What was the question? You said that there was something I wanted to finish that thought.
I think I was getting into. Well, geez, I kind of lost track myself. Too,
Yeah.
But I think you answered whatever. Yeah. You know, it was. You know, just kind of taken through the history.
Yeah, and different names. And so
I'm sorry. Right.
basically, you know, MSG is basically the Baden. You know, Schenker. I mean, you know, it's the period when I did that, my middle years, and it's more connected to Gary Baden, and
Okay.
it's you know, Michael Schenker group. That was
Right.
the time of experimenting, developing, etc., etc. This is the time of Summit, you know, to combine all the, you know, Spirit on a Mission basically is a result of combining all emotions and experiences from beginning up to now all together in one, you know. And I feel like I am really revisiting my youth and you know, want things the way I used to want them, you know, in those days. And so
Gives you a lot of energy, right?
Yeah.
That's great. So at one point you were asked to join Ozzy with a solo band
Yeah.
to take over when, you know, Randy Rhoads had passed away.
Yeah.
So what happened there?
Well, in the middle of the night, I was, you know, he called me up and he told me, and you know, I gave it hope. You know, I mean, it was like a wow, you know, I have to digest, you know.
Sure.
And I told him, let me think about this, and so I was in the middle of making an album myself. I had Cozy in the band, Wayne Bonnet, and it was kind of, and you know, and of course, I never rejoined the Scorpions for the reason that I wanted to do my own thing, and that has always been a reminder whenever I was approached, you know, that there is a reason why I didn't rejoin the Scorpions, and that was I didn't want to copy the past stuff from other people's involvement, period, and I wouldn't be happy doing that. And I wasn't in the mood of doing, you know, being in a machine, a commercial machine. I wouldn't be pulling on the same string, you know. I would be a nuisance for them because they want to go a certain direction and I want to go a different direction. So it doesn't make any sense. And you know, same happened for Deep Purple and many people that asked me to join. I basically always had to remind myself, you know, why not? I was tempted, obviously.
Sure, yeah.
You know,
It's quite the offer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. So now you played with Rad at one time, is that?
Yeah, but I had a break, and Warren is a fan and a friend, and so he asked me if I, you know, could do this for him, and I was in the middle of 2 Macaulay Schenker records, and so I did it.
Oh, great. So obviously you've been at this for a while. Okay,
Yeah.
so at this point in your career, you're looking at yourself in your 20s. What are you telling yourself at the 20s? What kind of great advice would you give yourself now, being in your 20s?
Well, the thing is, you know, like you say, the moment, it's the moment, every moment is special and it's surrounded by circumstances that are unique. That moment can never reoccur,
right.
Period. So therefore, there is no advice I can give, because the moment, you cannot make this moment combined with the moment in the past. It's impossible.
So take advantage of the moment?
Yeah, I mean, do what you need to do, follow your heart, and you know, it's, for me, it's all about development, you know, play and discover and develop, and life is incredible, you know, there's all these unpredictable corners, and you never know, it can be a downer, it can be also an upper, and
right.
so I like to stay positive, and I'm looking forward to the next corner. It's always exciting for me.
So obviously you've had some challenges in the past with substance and things like that. Was there a defining moment that you said, okay, I'm done with this? You know, I'm giving up all that stuff.
It's all development. You know, you grow into things, and you grow out of things, and it's all different for each individual. Everybody has to deal with these things in their own ways. You know, that's why you have a name and a body responsible for the outcome.
Right,
and so it's all left up to each individual. People, you know, if anybody wants to have help, there's lots of places where we can get help. But in general, everybody has to make their own decision. And I noticed with myself that I basically grew out of things. You know, I started off as a very, very shy, fragile guy, being stage fright, and I needed to drink to go on stage and survive. And so, you know, that kind of gets into a vicious cycle, and then you have other problems like divorce and stuff like this, and that doesn't help. And so you kind of try to numb yourself, so you know, and stuff like that. But eventually, you know, as that happens, you know, these are the challenges, crisis, etc. These are teachers. You know, without them, you cannot develop. So my middle years was based on that. I've got 2 tattoos on my back. One is Born to be Free and Born to Overcome. And so my middle years are exactly all about born to overcome. And you need to have challenges. You need to have, you know, these kind of situations in order to develop. And like the saying, if you make it through. I mean, what did it say? You get through it. If it doesn't kill you,
it makes you stronger.
And
right.
so that's basically the principle of challenges, to get through them. You know,
sure.
That's the development. And so that's my life design. The beginning, unconscious development on the guitar. You know, making my musical contribution to the world in the 70s. Put together for the 80s, and then you know, my brother, I helped out on Love Drive. My brother asked me to lend him the black and white design for the V. I gave it to him. He asked me to give him Coast to Coast, which was co-written. I gave it to him, and I gave him also the intro for Holiday, and I gave him my blessing. He went out and he did his Scorpions thing, and I withdrew and focused on my personal life, which was the life of challenges into the arena, the school of life. You know, that's the battleground where I needed to be in order to develop and to learn things, etc., and to get through things. And so, having done that in my middle life, and so basically at the beginning, when I did Michael Schenker and Friends, and my first record, Reunion with Gary Barden, which was In the Midst of Beauty in 2008, that was basically the turning point when I realized, now, you know, I have a funny feeling I need to be back in the loop of rock and roll, and you know, I want to put my final stamp on things, and celebrate the era of handmade rock, and celebrate my developments too, you know. And so you know, this era of handmade rock that has been going on for 50 years, that has been basically educating people. You know, the 80s kind of made what was written in the 70s for the 80s. The 80s basically commercialized the 70s, made it simpler, put it in a nice packaging, and played it to a wide mass of audience, with the hope, me as a guitarist, that it would educate the people, that they may be understanding more in a few years what I'm doing or what I had been doing in the past. And now, after 40 years, it looks like they have been educated, and it's like a guitar in almost every household now instead of a piano. And so it seems like lots of people starting to understand guitar playing and maybe looking a bit further, maybe even try to play guitar themselves.
Right.
And so, you know, it's fantastic because now, you know, when I started off, in Germany I started off, people didn't understand what I was doing at all. And there was disco music was going on and no management allowed.
Right.
There was nothing there for music that I was playing. And so when I was asked by UFO to join them, which I told the Scorpions, if a British band would ever ask me to join them, I would do it. Doesn't matter who it is.
So that was up front?
Just to be in England where all the artists came from.
Sure, yeah.
The guys that I had fun with listening to as a kid, you know.
Yeah.
And so here I was in England, you know. That was the moment when it really all made sense.
So now, obviously, you know, I don't know how you feel about this being, you know, in legendary status, but that is what you are. And you've had a lot of awards and accolades. Is there anything that stands out to you as being like the biggest accomplishment for you, as far as awards or accolades or anything like that, or whatever?
Again, you know, it's being in the now is the biggest accomplishment.
Being in the now, all right, that's great. So, touring today as compared to maybe touring, you know, 30 years ago, what are the differences? I mean, is it harder? Is it easier? Is it different? Or is it the same?
I used to hate basically being on stage. I never understood what I was doing there. So I had to drink and stuff like that. I don't have to do it anymore because I'm not stage fright anymore. I actually love to be on stage. I don't know why, but I guess because I developed. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So I developed out of that fragile, shy position into a stronger person having fun on stage. And that's fantastic.
How about being on the road itself, though? You know, the tour buses, you love it?
Yeah, well, I do it my own way.
Yeah.
I do it in such a way that it is enjoyable.
It's
and
comfortable.
That's all you need to do. You need to design it.
Excellent, excellent. So, is there anybody out there that you love to tour with?
Well, you know, like I have been, I think, you know, my design as a guitarist and my position is more like, you know, to be able to play in any size venue in front of any amount of people, big, small, whatever, you name it, and somebody has to do it, you know, and so I'm the one who's doing it, and you know, I've been trained doing it, and I can, you know, find, you know, negatives and positives or positives and negatives in any situation, and so, you know, but in a smaller place, obviously, because I am focusing on guitar, playing for musicians, you know, Scorpions and bands like that, they're playing more for the wide mass, for people who are not necessarily musicians, you know, just consumers in general. But my audiences are mainly people who really understand what I'm doing, and they are probably more or less, they are musicians themselves, most of them.
Right.
And you know, so they want to see things a little closer, and they don't want to see a big show and stuff like this that distorts the people on stage. That they want to watch the people play. You know, that's the difference. If you're a commercial artist and maybe you're not that developed in details, maybe you need to put more emphasis on the show itself, on the lights and on the, you know, so there's different ways, and also there is a different purpose for everybody. You know, everybody benefits a particular area in a particular way, and so like, you know, it's like at the end of the day we are all working together, but we're somewhat more suitable for different things than others. You know, so like I'm not very suitable, or have not been very suitable in the past for a commercial presentation on the level of like AC/DC, Scorpions, etc. But you know, so I did what I was suitable for and beneficial to a particular type area, you know, that needed to be met as well, you know. Right. And so I do my part. Everybody's doing their part, and then I can see that in the final stage now, at the celebration state, that it's all going to be mixed up, you know, because now it's people understand things better. They're revisiting their own youth, and you know, so we're all going back there, redigesting what actually has happened, you know.
Sure.
And now you know, now all of it can be enjoyed. Big places, small places, you know. It's just great.
But it's interesting you brought that up. I actually was speaking with some folks at a restaurant just before here, and they said, I want to get so close that I can see him playing and actually playing the notes. So it's so true, you know, there's a lot of people that really want to see that. So finishing up here, Michael Schenker off tour, what are you doing?
Off tour?
Off tour. Not making music. What do you do when you're
always something, you know. I like I said again, it's being in the now. I love to create, no matter what I do. Even if I just make my bed, I create.
So you're an artist all the way around.
I love to create anything I do. I love to be there, you know.
Fantastic. Any final words for your fans out there?
Keep on rocking.
Keep on yourself. That's simple. So, Michael Schenker here, Spirit on a Mission out right now. Be sure to pick up your copy of Michael Schenker with Temple of Rock on tour right now. Michael, appreciate your time.
Thank you
so much.